Can I have a motion to appoint Alderman Morris as Mayor Pro Tem this evening?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Karas,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Bushman, Alderman Weber.
Aye.
Acting Mayor Pro Tem, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Betty. Thanks very much. Welcome, everyone, to the Tuesday, September 20th, 2021 virtual session of the Lake Forest City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll? Again.
Pro Tem Mayor Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Karas,
Here.
Alderman Rummel,
Here.
Alderman Notes,
Yeah.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Here.
Alderman Bushman,
Here.
Alderman Weber.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Betty. What we'd like to do is do the Pledge of Allegiance. So I will recite that if you'd put the flag on the screen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Very good. What we'd like to do before we start is the mayor asked me to make the following statements. In accordance with the state statute, I have made a determination that it was not practical or prudent to schedule an in-person city council meeting because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is why this September 2021 city council meeting will be held remotely. So we'll start off the first item on the agenda, comments by the mayor. I just wanted to say that it appears we have a more limited agenda this evening, unlike some of our prior meetings. So it should be relatively quick, maybe not quick, but short. But let me begin by introducing Fire Chief Siebert, who has an important task for us this evening. And so Chief Siebert, if you could proceed.
All right, you got me on the video and the audio there?
Oh, we have audio.
All right, well, I'll go forward. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Morris and members of council and any residents that are listening tonight. Appreciate you giving us this time to spotlight one of our members. I also wanted to take a moment to thank everybody who came out to support us on the 9/11 ceremony. With everything that we've endured over the last year and a half, it was really great to see the support of residents and council and the mayor out there in force to help us remember that day. So much appreciated. Tonight we're honoring Nick Dovel. He's one of our newest firefighter paramedics who just made it off probation. We were hoping that we were going to conduct that in the council chambers, but things just did not align. But thankfully, Mayor Pantaleon came out to the fire station and he did the swearing in of Nick Dovel. Just a little background on Nick. He did start with us as a part-time, or we call paid on premise, a very successful program, I might add, that he's right now we have 12 of our 30 members on shift came from those ranks. Nick also came to us from the military. He served in the U.S. Navy for 7 years and did 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. So we thank Nick for his service, and Nick's just a very dedicated employee. He's got a great work ethic. He's already attained his bachelor's degree, and he's currently working on his master's degree. So we really love his work ethic and just his overall inspiration he brings to the shift. And he's also showed himself off to be quite the barbecue cook, winning the Libertyville Rib Fest and the coveted People's Choice Award at the Lake Forest Rib Cook-Off just this Saturday. So he's fit in really well. And we have a video that Jamie Nixon, our admin, has done a great job to kind of document the event. So I'd love to play that for everyone right now if you can. All right, so I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. It's good to see Nick's family, some friends, a lot of people from work coming off duty. That's always nice to see.
Nick started with us back in 2019, right, sir? So he was a paid on premise with us, started out part-time, and I think it was just a little under a year. We had him hired full-time, and he was just off of probation on August 12th. So it's definitely a milestone in his career. I think since day one, he's been a hard worker. I think he brought some of that work ethic from the military here. We appreciate it. I have nothing but good things to say about Nick. Every time I come in, he's got a great mood. He's always happy to see you. He's always asking if there's something to do. I always see him busy. So I hope to see you carry that on through 25 years or more here. I probably won't be around to see all 25 years, but I wish you well on that. And without any further ado, I'm going to have the mayor swear you in.
I, Nicholas J. Dovel. I, Nicholas J. Dovel. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution and laws of the state of Illinois. The Constitution and laws of the state of Illinois. And the ordinances, rules, and regulations of the city of Lake Forest. And the ordinance, rules, and regulations of the city of Lake Forest. I will faithfully discharge the duties. Of the position of firefighter paramedic. To the best of my ability. I further swear to uphold the mission of the Lake Forest Fire Department. And to fulfill
Vision to the best of my abilities.
its vision to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Hey, we got a cake and some refreshments in the station, and we're happy to have you guys here. Thanks again. Thanks for the mayor to come out on his time off and sheriff city manager out here. And I really, again, it's nice to see people come off duty to pay respect to you. So, and the rain and all that.
Congratulations.
Very good. Well, thank you, Firefighter Dovel. That's great to have him on board. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for letting us share that tonight. And again, thank you for all the support. It means a lot with everything going on these last few months. And it's really good to see that support from the community. And we just keep on doing what we're doing.
Great. Thank you. Any comments from the council? If not, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate all your service. Okay, as we move on, it's great to have Nick on board. Our next item is a report on general obligation refunding bonds, and I'm going to turn it over to our Director Hollop for a brief presentation from the Finance Department.
Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members, I have a very brief presentation for you this evening just to summarize the recent and very successful bond issue for the city. For those in the audience who may not be aware, a general obligation refunding for the city is very similar to a property owner refinancing his or her mortgage. It is simply an opportunity to issue new bonds, use those bond proceeds to pay off existing older bonds that have carry a higher interest rate. So with a very competitive interest rate environment, we wanted to follow on the success the city had in 2019 refunding bonds and look to refinance the 2013 general obligation bond issue, which was just becoming callable this year. As you likely recall, on August 2nd, the City Council approved a bond parameters ordinance. This bond parameters ordinance set forth specific criteria, if met, allowed the city to proceed with a bond issue. We did this just to allow flexibility in timing on the online auction and to maintain that flexibility over the few weeks that we had to market the issue and put it up for an auction. This slide summarizes in the requirement column the items that were included in the bond parameters ordinance August 2nd. And then the column to the right shows the actual results based on the auction that was conducted on August 19th. So August 19th, the city's financial advisory firm of Spear Financial held an online auction at which bidders could bid on the proposed bond issue. We had 9 bidders, a lot of interest in the city's bond issue. And over the course of the online auction period, those 9 bidders submitted a total of 63 bids. And you can see the successful bidder and how that came out as far as the bond size, bond payments per year, and certainly of note is the interest rate. So we had 5% per annum in the bond parameters ordinance. The bonds that were issued will carry a 2% rate. However, they sold at a premium, resulting in the true interest cost on the issue being 1.0065%. So a very successful issue. You can see that the present value savings came in significantly higher than that which was required in the bond parameters ordinance. The total savings over the life of the 2013 bond issue was just over $1.6 million. So we were very pleased with the sale. We proceeded and accepted the low bid from the auction on August 19th, and that bond issue closed last week, September 15th. This second slide is really just intended to show you the benefit of the refunding. The red on these graphs show debt service that is supported from the property tax levy, and the blue reflects the capital levy that provides pay-as-you-go funding for the city's 5-year CIP. You can see the 2020 levy is the one we're in now. The 2020 levy relates to fiscal year 22 budget and what those property tax levy requirements look out into the future. The green represents the savings from the refunding. There are very small savings in the earlier years that don't really show up on this chart. You see the significant savings in the out years. That was done intentionally to support the city a little bit on long-term strategy for financing capital improvements, but also just to capitalize and maximize the savings that were received from the refunding. So there is an item on your omnibus agenda this evening. It's simply to acknowledge receipt of the notification of sale on the general obligation refunding bonds. This was a requirement of the bond parameters ordinance and was included in the bond documents for the bond issue closing last week. And again, that is on your omnibus agenda for this evening. I'll be happy to address any questions from anyone.
Questions from the City Council? If not, Director Holub, your timing is impeccable as usual, and you struck quite a deal at 1%. So congratulations. Oh, I'm sorry, Ray, go ahead.
Just to add on to that, yes, it was an outstanding result. Just a question, inquiry. You mentioned the true interest rate is 1.0065. Hopefully I can round it at 1%. But do I understand correctly, though, that when you show the refinancing, the bonds would show a 2% interest rate?
Director Holub?
I think you froze, Elizabeth.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Oh, I didn't mean to ask that question.
Maybe she'll come back here in a second.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if I froze or Ray froze, but that was clearly me. So I did not hear the last part of your question, Alderman Bushman.
Okay, we talked about the true interest rate and we talked about the premium value we got from the refinancing. But I was just asking, when you show that we have these bonds outstanding, will it show a 2% interest rate?
Yes, because they will actually pay a 2% interest on the semi-monthly and semi-annual interest payments will be at 2%, but the purchaser of those bonds had to pay a premium to get that.
Right, which is the way it adjusted down to 1%, which is an amazing rate that you were able to achieve. So thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Well done, Dr. Holub. With that, we'll move on to the comments by the city manager. Director Wisha?
Great. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and members of City Council. For tonight's community spotlight, I'm pleased to introduce our new Lake Forest School Superintendent, Dr. Matthew Montgomery. Dr. Montgomery officially began his tenure here on July 1 after previously serving as the superintendent of the Richfield, Ohio Revere Local School District. And I can say, as anyone who's on Instagram can attest, he has really hit the ground running, been very busy. I think, as we know, while our two organizations operate independently, our collective fates are so closely intertwined, with our respective successes and challenges equally impacting the attractiveness of our community and the exceptional quality of life our residents and especially our young families enjoy. And it is for those reasons that a strong working relationship between our two entities remains so critical. And in that regard, I can attest through several early interactions my confidence that Matt is going to be a great fit, not just for our Lake Forest schools, but also as a wonderful partner for the city of Lake Forest for many years to come. In fact, probably the only thing I can't say positively about the guy is that I learned he is a longtime Ohio State Buckeye fan, which as a Wolverine fan myself is a little hard to swallow, but we'll try not to hold that against him. And otherwise, I'm happy to formally introduce Dr. Montgomery to the City Council tonight and to allow him to share some insights into his first few months on the job and in the community, as well as a brief look into what's on the horizon for our two school districts. So Matt, happy to turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, Jason, and thank you everybody for allowing me to be here. I appreciate the Alderman's time, as well as just the viewers that are here, to just take a few minutes to spend time introducing myself and some of the work we're working on. I'm going to share my screen, so please bear with me for a moment. And can everyone see that okay?
Sure.
Wonderful. So I try not, as Jason brought up, I try not to talk about sports at all, because I think that is just safer as an Ohioan to just avoid that topic altogether. I'm supporting all sports and trying to get up to date to make sure I can speak intelligently about the local sports and show my support. I want to begin with just a little bit about my family. We moved into Lake Forest the end of June. And we obviously came from Ohio, as Jason said, and it has been a big adjustment for us. My wife and my 4 children. This is a picture of them attempting to help move. This was their grand contributions. But as you can see, there's 4 of them. There's I have a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, 8-year-old, and 7-year-old. 3 girls and a little guy, and they truly have been immersed in this experience, and I couldn't be happier with where we landed and the community in which we are residing in. I think that it will shape their trajectories as they go on and hopefully have bright futures in a real meaningful way. So them being a part of this, it truly was a family decision to make the move to pursue this opportunity. We have spent the summer, there's no traveling this summer, that we vacationed here on the North Shore, which is a pretty spectacular place to travel. We immersed ourselves in the different activities. So from Lake Forest days to just exploring the city, both Lake Forest and downtown Chicago, really trying to see what makes this area of the country tick. And I will tell you that sometimes we have to pinch ourselves. You know, whether it's just out for a run, I'm out for a run, or we're sitting at the beach, because this is a pretty special place. And I think you can all agree or attest to that as longtime residents when I am kind of immersing this through my lens as the new guy. To be able to offer in-person instruction this year is paramount, to say the least. And I want to thank the mayor for being a part of the first day kind of festivities. So the mayor participated in both the kickoff for LFHS as well as for District 67. And I will tell you that I think that if he were here, he could share the excitement that we saw as we welcome students back into the districts for their in-person learning. As an educator, my primary focus this year is to ensure that they remain with us all year, all in. That type of experience we learned the hard way, I think, the importance of in-person instruction and the amazing opportunities that we are able to provide our students through the resources that we are afforded with in this community. So I just want to celebrate, there's trials and tribulations of the day-to-day, but us offering in-person instruction right now is our number one objective. We want these students to be with us and to help enrich their pathways as they're moving through their schooling. I've spent some time in my early meetings talking about my entry plan. It's comprehensive. It only goes through December on this slide, but I promise you it's going to go through this year and probably beyond, because one of the components is one-on-one interviews with each staff member, and there's over 600 staff in between both districts. But it's my way to kind of get to know individuals as well as the collective whole. But you'll also see, classroom visits on this list, partnering with students, and then listening sessions, as well as meet and greets out in the community with the resources and the leaders that are embedded in Lake Forest, as well as Lake Bluff and Knollwood. Some of the individuals that I have met with, or organizations that I've met with already, are on this list, and the list just keeps growing. I will tell you that it's been, whether I've been at the open lands or I was with the mayor on Saturday morning after the Scout All-Out 5K, Gorton's annual dog day. It has been refreshing to see what makes this community tick. And each person or group that I've met with has afforded me the time and the energy to really help me understand these communities and how I fit into it and how the districts fit into it and how we partner. When Jason talked about partnership, I can't stress enough how valuable the relationship is between the city and the schools. And I will tell you that our partnership is already developing, and I hope will just continue to blossom in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. So I just want to thank him for his insight and support, as well as the mayor's. Just a little bit about my educational philosophy. I don't want to say this is the boring stuff, but I think you need to know how I tick a little bit because education is my passion. And I want you to know that my vision or my philosophy around education is it's our job as educators to create self-educators or lifelong learners, to be cliche. Right now, we are creating a group of students that are going to go out into society that are likely going to have multiple jobs or multiple careers. The days of having a sole career are not as common as they once were. So it is our job as educators, from my perspective, to create agile, nimble learners who can thrive regardless of the pathway in which they choose or what life faces them or what they face in their life. We want them to be able to pivot. I think in the last 18 months, we've saw firsthand what has happened as the job markets have fluctuated based on current needs, and it continues to evolve. We want self-educated lifelong learners who can be successful regardless of what they're faced with. And it is our job to teach them how to think. That is more important, in my opinion, than sometimes the specific concepts or topics. They are important as well, but we need to ensure that they are able to digest and process information in such a way where they can find success regardless if they're going right into college or if they're going right into career. We need to give them the tools regardless of their pathway. So you can see, focus on this slide about intrinsic motivation. We want them to have that thrive within themselves. We want to make sure that their own interests are developed through their K-12 or pre-K-12 experience, and then that they are able to go out beyond high school and continue to learn and thrive. Here's some key facts on District 67. I'll also share on 115. You are likely aware of this, but this is just a refresher of where we are. Enrollment right now is 1,628. For this school year. We continue to have the AAA Moody's bond rating, which is something that is highly acclaimed and sought after, and few districts in the country are able to receive that status. And that's attributed to you and your leadership as civic leaders as well. 8:1 is our student to certified staff ratio, forgive me. And then you can see average class sizes and expenditures per students. There are many different activities that our students in 67 can participate, and my own children are reaping the benefits of those opportunities. 115, the facts are presented to you. Student enrollment 1492. You can see the composite ACT score is 28. This is also a AAA bond rating. We had 8 National Merit Scholarship Award finalists, and you can see 96% of our students are attending college. And we are one of the top 10 Illinois high schools as ranked in the 2021 U.S. News and Report. And you should, if you stay tuned, there will be a big announcement regarding the high school tomorrow that I will be excited to push out through the help of our wonderful Chief Communications Officer, Mrs. Melissa Oakley. So stay tuned on that announcement. It's like one of those, but wait, there's more kind of ideas. Looking ahead, for the immediate future, we are doing a lot of listening this year. So there is a community satisfaction survey that's being launched tonight. It's a statistically valid survey, random selection on voters in each precinct on any Lake Forest 67 or 115 voter. So that is happening through Fallon Research and beginning tonight. And please look for the results of that survey to be reported in the October board meetings, as well as shared with the community writ large. What we're looking for is really overall satisfaction, overall value for tax dollars. We're looking at opinions on shared services and the partnership between 67 and 115. It's really a 20,000 foot viewpoint. Sometimes we can get myopic in our viewpoints and say that we know how everybody feels based on our closed circle. And this allows us as a district or districts to really have a snapshot of how the community is feeling around some key topics and their overall satisfaction. It's a key element, in my opinion, to make the best decisions possible and also ensure that each voice is being represented. So whether you're a parent or a non-parent, dependent on how your political affiliations are, we should be able to really get a snapshot of what people are feeling with regards to the schools. We are also starting, we intend to start the Portrait of a Graduate, which is really visioning work. So what core competencies do we want for our graduates as they walk across the lawn of LFHS at the end of their schooling career? So this will something that we hope to begin in January. It'll consist of a design team of approximately 75 individuals, community members, civic leaders, as well as staff and students, to figure out what our hopes and aspirations are for our students. I think that's really important to move forward as an organization or organizations. As of right now, I'm hoping to have 115, 67, and 65 participate. District 65 also participate in that visioning process, because all 3 of those entities come together to create a Lake Forest graduate. This fall, we will also be working on re-engaging the community on the Master Facilities Plan. If you remember, the Master Facilities Plan really came to a halt in February of 2020 as the onset of the pandemic really wreaked havoc on the world. There's been no work due to the pandemic on that topic, but I will tell you that we are re-engaging that work this coming fall to see what has changed in the community's viewpoints, and the designs that we came up with, are they still meeting the needs of what we're set out to do. Lastly, I just wanted to invite you to our next LFHS Friday Nights, which is Friday Night Lights, which is October 15th, 7:30. The homecoming game was a huge hit, as well as the homecoming dance this past weekend. I apologize to the residents who are closest to LFHS for the music Saturday night. Maybe you had your own dance party at home, but I will tell you that about 1,100 students came to the front lawn and it celebrated homecoming together, and we couldn't be happier that we were able to offer that for our students. With that, I will conclude. I will stop sharing and ask if there's any questions. Thank you again for your time.
Any questions from the council? Alderman Rummel. You're on mute, Melanie.
Sorry, Melanie, I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Dr. Montgomery, and thank you so much for that presentation, and welcome to the community. You might be interested to know that I believe 3 of us on the council are Lake Forest High School alumni. I think Alderman Notes and Alderman Gashgarian and myself. The question that I had, that statistic on 158 teachers with master's degrees, that's out of a staff of how many?
Well, there's 600 total staff between both districts, and I think there's approximately 400 teachers.
Do you have an incentive?
But that's both districts, though.
Right,
both districts together.
Is there still an incentive program for teachers to pursue advanced degrees? I know that when I go back to being school board president at 67, quite a while ago, and there was we actually initiated a program at that time. Is there still something of that nature where I believe we shared some of the tuition costs for teachers going back?
You know, I will have to check into that. I do not know for certain, other than I know that they move in tiers on the salary schedule as they get more advanced degrees. I don't know if there is an additional incentive still in place on the current bargaining agreements, but I can find out and circle back with you.
Yeah, I would be interested in that, realizing, of course, that a master's degree does not make a teacher. I mean, we all know that, and that's not what I'm trying to indicate. But it's just, I'd just be curious. I know I just had some great teachers at Lake Forest High School. Some of them had their PhDs and some of them didn't, but it was just a wonderful staff, and I'm sure you still have the same quality in your staff. So yeah, I'd appreciate just knowing that. Thank you.
You bet.
Very good. Other questions for Dr. Montgomery? Well, if not, Dr. Mayor, I just want to appreciate, I appreciate both your and President Zinsser's efforts to keep our children safe in our schools. That's obviously very important to our parents, and I especially appreciate the board's ability to manage that difficult board meeting you had last week. That was challenging with some dysfunctional commentary. So I would just want to thank you for your good work and appreciate all that you're doing for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I certainly appreciate that. It is a challenging time right now. There are many passionate individuals in these communities, and it's important that we hear from everybody. So I want to commend the board for their leadership last week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good. Now we have an opportunity. Alderman Preschlack, do you have a comment? No? Okay, so now is an opportunity for citizens to address the city council. So we'll put up our numbers for calling into the meeting, and you can also use the raise hand function to alert us to a question. And I would remind everybody that we allocate 3 minutes per call for each comment, and the city clerk will obviously monitor those times. But we'll wait for a second and see if we have any calls or raised hands.
Pro Tem Morris, we have no raised hands at this time.
Very good, thank you.
Mr. Pro Tem, we have no callers at the moment.
Okay, very good, thank you very much. So we move on to the committee reports, but of course there are none for this evening's meeting. So the next item will be the omnibus vote consideration. As everybody knows, there's 10. I'll read through these, and if anyone wants to bring one of the items out for further discussion, we can do that. So the first one is approval of the September 7th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes. Number 2, acknowledge receipt of the notification of sale of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2021. Number 3, approval of the purchase of a new storage array for the city's data center in the amount of $54,814 based on the state of Illinois contract. Number 4, approval of a 3-year renewable agreement for Microsoft Enterprise licensing with Dell Marketing LP based on the state of Illinois contract. Number 5, award of a proposal to DataWorks Plus LLC for the purchase of a live scan fingerprint system in the amount of $28,637. Number 6, approval of the purchase of computer workstations, laptops, hybrid tablets, and rugged tablets for all city departments. Number 7, award of a bid for 2021 Dickinson Hall tuck pointing project to the lowest responsible and responsible bidder, Bruce Brugoni Construction, in the amount of $130,533.47, to include a 10% contingency amount of $13,053.35, for a total of $143,586.82. Authorization, number 8, authorization for the city manager to enter into a professional service agreement with 2010 Engineering Group and HOH Group for facility mechanical engineering services. Number 9, award of a bid for a 3-year fire alarm testing and inspection services contract to ESCO LLC in the amount of $30,016. And the last one, not quite last one, there are 12, excuse me. Approval of a resolution committing local funds for the 2021 Safe Routes to School program for the City of Lake Forest project grant application, and the authorization of the city manager to execute related grant application documents. Now, number 11, consideration of ordinances approving recommendations for the Building Review Board. First reading, and if desired by the City Council, we would make it final approval. And number 12, the final one, consideration of ordinances approving recommendations from the Zoning Board of Appeals, first reading, and if desired by the City Council for final approval. Are there anyone in the council that would like to remove or take separately any of these items? And Alderman Rummel.
I don't want to take it separately. I just want to make a comment on item number 10, which is the sidewalks in Whispering Oaks, and just a compliment to the staff on this. This is sort of a little localized issue that I brought to the attention of the staff, I think back in 2019. And now they have remembered that little issue and comment and gone ahead and applied for a grant to resolve it. So just compliments to Jim and Mike Thomas, Jim Lockafear and Mike Thomas, for remembering that small issue and finding a creative way to possibly address it. I realize that applying for a grant doesn't mean that we will get it, but thank you for taking the initiative.
And I would just comment, my grandchildren walk to Cherokee, so I understand the lack of sidewalks in the situation that presents from a safety perspective. So,
well, just so we're clear on this, it's not going to create any new sidewalks,
no,
but some of the blocks, happens to be in the area where I am, go around the block, but make no connections across the street to the next block. So in order to get from block to block, you have to go over grass. And it just, as most of the sidewalks in this area, it's one of those that makes no sense, but here it is. And so it would be nice to resolve that issue so that children aren't getting off their bikes or riding on grass and going over curbs as they proceed to school. So
sure.
That's what it is.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the omnibus bill.
So moved.
Second? Biddy, would you take a roll call?
Certainly. Alderman Morris,
Aye.
Alderman Karas,
Aye.
Alderman Rummel,
Aye.
Alderman Notes,
Aye.
Alderman Preschlack,
Aye.
Alderman Gashgarian,
Aye.
Alderman Bushman,
Aye.
Alderman Weber.
Aye.
8 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Thank you very much. Just moving on, for old business, we have none for this evening. For new business, we also have none for this evening. The last item is if any of the city council members would like to bring up something for discussion or comment, happy to give you the floor. If not,
Jed, I just want to thank you for your leadership. I thought you did a wonderful job.
well, I'm getting half a Georgia salary, so it's worth it. All right, well, thank you, everybody. I'm sorry to give up my job, but next week, George will be back in full force. So thank you. I take a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
All those, a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, thank you, everybody. It was a short meeting, and I appreciate your involvement. Thanks a
Hello,
lot.
everyone.
Have a good
Night.
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 Thank you.